My name is Charlie. I'm 47. I was diagnosed with myelofibrosis at age 45. I live in South Australia in a town called Adelaide. I emigrated to Australia approximately 14 years ago with my delightful husband, Johnny. We lived not far from the beach, enjoyed life on a coastal region, beautiful part of the South Coast. I kind of stumbled upon diagnosis. I went to see my GP, had a discussion about an array of different symptoms such as night sweats and migraines and bruising. I had been to accident and emergency with ridiculously high blood pressure, feeling really unwell. They'd done an ultrasound on the table, noted that my spleen was enlarged. I was having migraines, both physically painful and oral migraines. I was having night sweats that were waking me up in the night, drenching, itching. I realised now, looking back, that I'd actually been coping with fatigue and bone pain, but I hadn't recognised how uncomfortable I had been. I was having problems with keeping food down and had lost my appetite. When I sat with my haematologist and going through my medical history, he brought up my blood counts from various appointments I'd had over the years and actually mapped that my blood counts had been historically high and there'd definitely been missed opportunity to follow up on that multiple times over a decade. So lack of education or understanding for MPN and what that looks like meant that I went undiagnosed, which is very common for an MPN patient. It occurs to me that if I hadn't listened to myself and my body and understood that there was something definitely wrong, that if I hadn't decided to advocate for myself and be firm about being seen, that potentially that referral would have never come through. So I think when patients have a chaotic blood history, whether that be high counts or low counts, it's really important that they're followed up correctly so that diagnosis can be stepped into and managed in the correct way. It's life-changing to be told that you've got something that could potentially be life-limiting or something that you have to manage for the rest of your life. I've had to adapt in very many areas to be able to allow for a diagnosis of MF due to the symptom burden that I experience every day of living with a blood cancer diagnosis. Until you've experienced disease-related fatigue, I think it's really hard to make that comparison. I feel like a rechargeable battery that has got to 40%, and that's the max it can get to. And it doesn't matter how much I sleep to replenish that energy, it just doesn't happen. I was teetering on the edge of needing blood transfusions because my blood counts had dropped so low, and was very keen to stay away from blood transfusions. Currently, I sit in a space of stable, which is a good place to be, but I live in fear for those numbers dropping and what is next in my future for treatment plans if I become transfusion dependent, and how again that's going to make my life adapt and change once again. My will to be here is to watch my children grow up and achieve their life goals, and so I'm very passionate about making sure that I'm up to date with education, medication options, and staying up to date with research and advocacy, and being a voice. It's very empowering to know what's coming, what's in the future, what researchers are already working toward, and that the hope for the future is there.